And there it is. We lost, indeed, the AFCON final to Senegal on penalties. It was the third time all tournament that we've had to go to penalty shootouts because we scored 4 goals all tournament. So I want to preface this because a lot of what I'll talk about is pretty negative because personally I'm not impressed by Egypt's general performance all tournament. Although there are some very bright and promising spots. But we'll talk about those. And I want to preface this by saying that the feeling around Egyptian soccer right this second, and keeping in mind that we are an extremely, I cannot emphasize this enough, we are an extremely fickle bunch as Egyptian soccer fans. But it's at the moment right now, it's a feel-good feeling. I get feel-good feeling. That's a phrase. Around Egyptian soccer right now, because we did reach the final. It was a stage we never expected to get to, with the amount of injuries that we've had this tournament, as well as just not having the as much quality as we used to have when we used to win every AFCON from 2006 to 2010. Yes, the AFCON is played every 2 years, so we won 3 AFCONs back to back. All right, so let's talk about this game first, because I think tactically, from Senegal's point of view, was one of the more interesting ones because they knew how solid Egypt's defense had been. Their approach was excellent because they had essentially 5 players spanning from the right back, Bounassar, to the left back, Saliou Ciss, and across the front line of Ismail Assar, Famara Didio, and Sadio Mane. And they essentially pinned Egypt's back line. They pinned them back and always stayed ahead of them, especially the front three. Ahead of them. Ahead of the ball and in front of them. And there were instances that almost led to goals where Didio would be ahead of the offside line. So when the ball goes out to Ciss or Bounassar, the striker's already occupying a center back, and that almost led to a goal in extra time. Ciss skinning Zizo, our right winger, and putting a cross in. Didio heads it on the ground, and Gabaski makes the save. But the other thing is that the midfield three really had a great game, transition-wise, breaking through a very solid Egypt midfield. We were playing in a 4-4-2 block from maybe halfway through the second half. A very turgid, rigid, anti-football 4-4-2. And it was ultimately a boring game, lacking chances except for extra time, where we had a few siders and Senegal almost scored in a few instances as well. There were a few crosses into the ground that Sadio Mane or Diadio would miss. Just miss the ball like it was air swings, basically. So I think we got a little bit lucky not to concede. Obviously, had this penalty saved by Gabaski from Sadio Mane in the 5th minute. Mohamed Abdelmerem, one of the best center backs in the tournament, and rightly in the best 11, the official best 11 of the African Cup of Nations, with a silly challenge at the start of the game that was ultimately saved. And he also ended up missing the penalty in the shootout, and it's not a great night for him, but it was a good performance overall, apart from those 2 moments, I guess. But yeah, that's about the game. Nothing really other than that to mention, because it was just boring. It was just a boring watch, to be honest. But hey, that's the nature of finals. The pitch was awful, and ultimately, That's continental football. That's knockout football. That's just another example of it. And congrats to Senegal. They really deserve to win on the day. It would have been an atrocity if we won. Yeah, completely right. Senegal runners-up in 2019, Before that, in 2018, they would go out in the group stage of the World Cup with a yellow card, worse than Japan. Like, disciplinary record played a factor in deciding who goes through. It's insane. It's just bizarre. Sadio Mane had missed a penalty in 2017 in the 2017 AFCON against Cameroon, and that played a role in knocking them out. And then his uncle's car got vandalized, and he didn't take a penalty again for a year and a half for Senegal until, he started taking penalties again, I guess. Runners up in 2019 as well with one of the wildest deflected goals I've ever seen in my entire life. If you go watch that goal back, go watch that goal in the 2019 final. The guy hits it and it pops up into the sky, and then when it lands, it wasn't supposed to land in the goal. It landed in the side netting. It was just weird. And that was that. It was a 1-0 win. It was a 1-0 win. With that goal won it. Mental. And the fact that they have a Senegalese manager who is kind of reaching the end of his time. One of Sadio Mane's best chances to win it, I guess, and he won it. But we go again in 2023. Another AFCON, is happening in 18 months' time in Ivory Coast in June 2023. So here we go again. And also, we do play Cameroon. We do play Senegal in the World Cup elimination playoff thingy. So it's us against Cameroon in 49 days' time as I record this. In a two-legged tie to decide who's going to go for the World Cup out of those two. The March international break is going to be mental. So I cannot wait. But, shout out Egypt. Seven injuries throughout the tournament, including our starting goalkeeper, our two starting center backs, our starting right back, and our starting left back. The entire back line that started the Nigeria game were injured one way or another. 2 long-term ones, 3 long-term ones. But Gabaski. This was Gabaski's tournament, really. What a keeper. I didn't know he was that good. Mohamed Shanawi is one of the best goalkeepers in Africa. I didn't know Gabaski is anywhere as good. I think he belongs in a top 5 league. Like, someone give him a contract somewhere. All right, so that was the African Cup of Nations final. I kind of wanted to talk about the best 11 as well, because there's a few names here that I wouldn't necessarily agree with. So the official best 11 in the African Cup of Nations was Edouard Mendy in goal, Ashraf Hakimi at right back, Mohamed Abdel Menem, and Edmund Tapsoba at center back. Not so sure there either. Saliou Ciss at left back. Fine. Namphalis Mendy at the base of midfield, paired with Mohamed Anneni and Isaac Toure. And then the front three of Sadio Mane, Vincent Aboubakar, who's the top scorer with 8 goals, and Mohamed Salah. Okay, let's take it back to front. Edouard Mendy, fine. Goalkeeper of the tournament, good. If Gabaski played all tournament, he probably would make it. Ashraf Hakimi, no. Not the best right back in the tournament. He did score like 2 of the goals of the tournament from free kicks. Yikes. 2 great goals. But Cameroon's Collins Fai impressed me every game I watched for Cameroon. I watched most of them. He's so quick off the mark, really intelligent with his runs, exceptional vision and ability to pick out a cross. I think he was just impressive at real solid defensive acumen too, like with the awareness of when to run back, when to track, how to mark, who to mark. when there were like overloads and things like that. Yeah, Collins 5 for me. In midfield, I would probably swap Namphalis Mendy for Idrissa Gana Gueye. Two of the same team in Cameroon. Two of like they partnered up all tournament, but I'd put Idrissa Gana Gueye there too. Edmund Tapsoba is one I skipped. Burkina Faso didn't keep a clean sheet all tournament, and Kalidou Koulibaly exists. So I would put Kalidou Koulibaly there. Immense. For a team that conceded 2 goals, Koulibaly was sensational in the final. Yikes. So yeah, that would be my choice, Kalidou Koulibaly. And then in the front, I don't really have a problem with Isaac Toure being the other midfield option with Mendy and Elneny. Well, Mendy I would swap for Idrissa Gana Gueye, but moving on. Sadio Mane, yes. Vincent Aboubakar, obviously, top goal scorer. Mohamed Salah. Vincent Aboubakar and Mohamed Salah used to be strike partners, by the way. Back in the day, in the season, I think it was 2014-15 or 2015-16. 2014-15 at Fiorentina for like half a season, I think. But anyway, Mohamed Salah, I wouldn't have in my starting 11. Yeah, you heard that right. I wouldn't have Mohamed Salah at the starting 11. Karl Toko Ekambi. So essentially, all of Cameroon's goals were scored by either Vincent Aboubakar or Karl Toko Ekambi. And Toko Ekambi was a lot more threatening than Salah moving forward every time Cameroon had possession. But that's not Mo Salah's fault. Salah was way too isolated, used this front reference point target man. Like, he was completely out on his own. It's like we were playing 4 lines and Mo Salah was actually just the lone striker. It was not the right way to use him, to be honest, in my opinion. And that contributed to Egypt's very lacking attacking output that ultimately decided, for me, we don't deserve to win the African Cup of Nations by any stretch of the imagination. But part of that is Mo Salah. And I guess maybe you can say it's up to him too to find ways to be influential in times of need. Take things to his own hands. But no, that wouldn't be fair. I don't know. What I know is that Salah didn't have the best tournament, wasn't used in the right way, and was ultimately ineffective. And the 2 goals he scored were, well, 2 exceptionally important goals, and the assist for Trezeguet for the winner, for the late winner against Morocco, was one of the most significant assists of the tournament, and one of the better ones too. But the 2 goals that he scored were a tap-in off a set piece that rebounded and a volley that the goalkeeper somehow, like, he had to save it, somehow just let it slide. Oh, hey, I'm just looking at the substitutes bench there. Andre Onana is in goal for Cameroon. Cool. Collins Fai, Kalidou Koulibaly, I'd have him at the starting lineup. Maybe Edmund Tapsoba could make the bench. Mahmoud Hamdi of Egypt. Ahmed Al Fatouh, Egypt. Good choices. Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa. I love that name. Making on the bench too. Youssef Inchagama of Comoros. That's a good choice. Bertrand Traore, Sofiane Bafal, Karl Toko Ekambi, who should have started in my opinion, and Famara Diadio. Yeah, ultimately, this is the best team of the tournament. And this was the African Cup of Nations. This was your AFCON appetizer, your final AFCON appetizer. Maybe I'll be back in 18 months' time talking about the African Cup of Nations again on this podcast. And again, that'll be in 2023, so stay tuned maybe. But anyway, Moving on to more important things now. The African Nation is done. There are 0 games left to play, but there are plenty of game weeks left to play. Just another fantasy pick. We're in game week 24 out of 38. And Fergal has gone with Kevin De Bruyne against Brentford. Brentford, the trajectory doesn't look very good for them. Not with a complete outside shot of relegation, although I personally don't think they will get relegated, but the trajectory and form don't look great. I've gone with Jared Bowen against Watford. They're Watford. And Jared Bowen's been on pretty good form recently, so I hope that pays off. George and Harry have gone with Everton players. Now, I don't think I have one Everton player in my list because I don't know what to expect from Everton ever. And any player can turn up with any kind of form, mostly bad, but I just can't trust it. And with Newcastle playing at home this game week and having had 3 or 4 new signings since last game week, and the atmosphere, you can expect that to kind of play a role in that a little bit. The fans to be more energized and with a kind of a refreshed team. So yeah, if one of or 2 of those players play, you'll find the atmosphere making a difference there. Not too sure. George is going with Richarlison, Harry going with Donna Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin must be on top form and must stay fit if Everton aren't going to drag themselves into a relegation battle. But that's it. That's it for this little minisode. Sorry, all. We haven't quite been able to arrange a time to record this week, which is very, very unusual. But at the end of the day, busy times for the 4 of us. What can I say? But yeah, we'll be back for sure. Hopefully. This is an anomaly. But next week it will be hopefully 2 or 3, or maybe all 4 of us. Who knows? But you will have more than one person recording an episode of more than 20 minutes long, and it won't just be me mumbling nonsense. It'll have more people in it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed this one, this little bit of different one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.